The Lord is risen. Alleluia. Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we celebrate Easter, the resurrection of the Lord. Easter is the most important feast for Christians. It is far more important theologically than Christmas or Good Friday. Anyone can be born or anyone can die, but to rise from the dead, only God can do. One may wonder, why do we have so many readings on the Easter Vigil? The Easter Vigil readings tell us the salvation history from the beginning. The readings start with the beginning in Genesis. They recall the covenant with Abraham and the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, including the Passover. The story continues with the reception of the Ten Commandments, Isaiah's prophecy of the Messiah as the suffering servant, eventually culminating in St. Paul's explanation of baptism and resurrection. Finally, we have a resurrection account from a gospel. All these readings tell us only one story, the story that is centered on the eternal persistence of God to save us from sin, so that we can experience eternal glory, highlighting the important points of our salvation. More than recalling the death and resurrection of Christ, these readings show the extent of God's plan throughout the history. Furthermore, they accompany us into a participation in these mysteries. These readings do not simply repeat stories, they make us to live them today in a new context. To understand and to accept the resurrection, we must know the salvation history. The risen Christ did the same thing when he walked with the disciples from Jerusalem to Emmaus. Christ told them the salvation history to make them to understand and to realize the resurrection. Thus, that was the first Bible course and done by Christ himself. Dear friends, the name Easter comes from a Roman feast called Estre. Estre is the name of a Roman goddess of spring, the symbol of new life and new hope. This goddess renews the nature after the seasons of autumn and winter. The feast of the resurrection of Christ is also a symbol of new life and new hope. The resurrection of Jesus renews the entire humanity. Thus, this feast of resurrection of Christ is called as Easter. We can divide all the resurrection narratives in the Gospels into two categories. They are empty tomb accounts and appearances of risen Christ. The empty tomb equally gave witness to the risen Lord. It only needs faith to understand, it only needs faith to accept, it only needs faith to believe. This empty tomb proclaims the resurrection, proclaims the Easter. What does Easter bring? First, Easter gives hope. Easter tells us that our situation might appear to be so bad, but always there is a way forward. We may not see it now, but it will be revealed. On Good Friday, people only saw the pain, and after 3 days, they saw the resurrection. Yes, Easter gives hope that the joy of Easter will overcome all our pains and sufferings. Second, Easter gives new life. Resurrection is not a recovery. Resurrection is not a resuscitation. Resurrection is not a rebirth, but resurrection is a new life. New life is a life in abundance. New life is a life of everlasting. New life is a life living for others. New life is a life of sacrifice. Third, Easter gives joy. It makes us joyful people. Be happy for no reason, because the risen Lord always tells us, do not be afraid and peace be with you. So do not worry, be happy. As we celebrate this joyful Easter, the risen Lord invites us to have courage to enter into the mystery of suffering as he did, and through that suffering to experience the new life. Dear friends, at times we may have to be humble servants as we reflected on the Maundy Thursday. At times we may have to experience Good Friday in our life. We experience pain, suffering, and death. But remember that we will be always rewarded with Easter. Easter that gives hope. Easter that gives peace. Easter that gives joy. Easter that gives new life. When we read the resurrection narratives in the Gospels, the message of the risen Lord is, do not be afraid and peace to you. Yes, he gives us joy and hope. Thus, if our life is full of hope, full of peace, and full of joy, then we are Easter people. We are resurrected people. If we bring hope, if we bring peace, and if we bring joy to others, and again we prove that we are Easter people, we are resurrected people. God bless you all. Amen.